Good morning. Hey, how you doing? Today I'd like to speak to you or speak with you about what I think might be the best suspension seat post for bike comfort available. Hi, I'm Arnie and you're watching E-Bike Trippin'. If you're into e-bikes, why don't you consider subscribing? Just click that big red subscribe button, click the bell icon so you don't miss anything, and then check the show notes down below. And by the way, down there we also have an affiliate link if you decide that you want to get one of these. If you buy through the link, it does help keep this channel going. So yes, this suspension seat post, I think every e-bike rider should have one of these things. This is the Kinekt from Cirrus Cycles. And now you might have seen other articles or maybe YouTube videos or whatnot talking about the body float. And it's the same thing. There was a name change a year or so ago, I guess. I'm not exactly sure when, but body float, Kinekt, same thing. Now, I call this a suspension seat post. Cirrus Cycles likes to call it an isolating seat post. Their thinking is that it isolates you from the bumps and what have you of the road, and that certainly works for me too. I don't care what they call it or what you call it. It works. So all in all, something I think everybody should have. Why? Why would you want this? Well, this particular one, I think because number one, it's the tunability of it. Not only do you have these springs that are different strengths, but you can also fine tune the preload just by turning this knob. And you'll notice that here there's also this numbering system that they put up, this scale that allows you to know what your setting is. Now, obviously, if you share a bike, you might want to have this different for different riders depending on their weight. So you can just crank that down and then you'll know exactly where it is. Now, obviously, the preload, this whole thing is so much personal preference. Some really like the floaty feel, very, very soft, and others, like myself, prefer it to be a little more firm with some give. You're going to have to play with that. And what I have done, is I put it on the bike, I ride it at its softest setting, and then I start adjusting. It's helpful if you have somebody there to work with you on this, but it isn't necessary. You can do it through multiple trial and errors, tightening it down to see what works best for you. One of the things I will address, I think that because as e-bike riders, we tend to sit or ride on bikes where we sit more upright as opposed to hunched over for a racing bike or a mountain bike or something like that. We tend to sit upright more. You may wish to have a heavier spring than you might normally want, or maybe your preload would be a little bit more than you might normally do, just because you're actually putting more weight on the saddle. So being able to change these springs out to adjust the preload really is a big deal for all of us actually, and not just for me, but for all of us. So I really like that. In previous videos, I had a Funbuster on my Rad Rover, and I liked it a lot. And I'll leave a link up above, and you can check that out if you want to see my remarks on that. I liked that a lot. I do feel that this is a little more refined than the Thud Buster. They accomplish very much the same thing. The whole purpose of this, obviously, is to smooth out the ride. Let's talk a little bit about sizing. There are 4 iterations of this Seatpost. They come in 4 sizes, that's what I mean by that. Small, medium, large, and extra large. I happen to have the extra large, which is indicated by this orange spring here. I have the extra large, and that runs from 240 to 320 pounds. So quite a lot of weight. I'm somewhere in that 260 to 270, maybe even closer to 270 now than I like to admit. But the other ones, the smalls are for 80 to 150, medium 150 to 200, and large is 200 to 240. So a wide range of available weight parameters there. It also comes in 4 different standard Seatpost diameters, 25.4, 27.2, 30.9, and 31.6. You may have a non-standard Seatpost tube. You're going to need to get yourself a shim to deal with that. Not a big deal. They only cost a couple of bucks. I mentioned that there are these different sizes, but there's also different lengths. The one that I have here is the 350 millimeter, but it's also available in 420 millimeter, which I had on the Thud Buster for the Rad Rover, because that top tube slopes down so much, you have to have an extra long seat tube. The 350 is what I have now. Now, this is the aluminum version of this. There is also a carbon version to save a couple ounces. I don't know, I have no idea how much you save. Frankly, I don't see the purpose for having a carbon Seatpost if you're riding an e-bike. After all, you've got a battery, a motor to help move you along. So a couple of extra ounces, even if it was a pound, to me, I just don't get it. The carbon comes in 2 different lengths from the ones I mentioned already. The carbon is 330 and 380. Don't know why that's a difference, but it is. And I think that, oh, one other thing. There is a little optional thing you can get. It's a dust cover that you can slide up over this and hide all the moving parts. Keeps dirt, grime, road, whatever out of there. Keeps everything nice and clean. I want to thank Kinekt for sending this out. I do appreciate it. And I think that if you pick yourself up one of these things, you'll find, like I did, this is the godsend. Oh, yeah, that's overstating it, but it really does make the ride more fun. Hey, if you like this kind of stuff, before we go, something coming up in another video that you're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed for. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Always love hearing from you guys. Thanks. See you next time.